March 10, 2025, began like any other day at Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport, nestled on the edge of Alaska's vast wilderness. The sun crept over the horizon, casting a golden glow on the snow-dusted tarmac and the glassy terminal windows. The Alaskan air was crisp and biting, but spirits were high. Planes moved on schedule, their engines humming steadily, while ground crews in thick jackets worked with practiced efficiency, braving the cold as they prepared aircraft for the busy day ahead. Inside, passengers sipped coffee and checked their phones, unaware that their routine morning would soon be shattered. No one expected the chaos about to unfold, not even the most seasoned travelers or staff. In the control tower, the day's routines played out as usual. Controllers monitored radar screens, communicating with pilots and coordinating takeoffs and landings with calm precision. Suddenly, a flicker of movement on a distant runway caught a controller's eye. Something out of place, something unexpected. It was too large for a fox, too slow for a bird, and it moved with a lumbering gait that made everyone uneasy. Security cameras zoomed in, and what they saw sent a chill through the tower. The image became clear, and disbelief turned to alarm. There, standing calmly in the middle of runway 15R, was a massive bull moose, an unexpected visitor in the heart of Alaska's busiest airport. Its antlers spread wide like a crown. The moose seemed completely oblivious to the danger surrounding it, unfazed by the distant roar of jet engines or the flashing lights. Runway 15R was active, with planes scheduled to land and depart within minutes. The stakes were suddenly sky high. The realization hit hard. The very heart of Alaskan air travel was compromised. Urgent action was needed to prevent disaster. A 737 was already on final approach for that very runway, its pilots unaware of the looming danger below. Other aircraft were taxiing for departure, their crews preparing for takeoff, all depending on the safe operation of the runways. This was a critical, life-threatening situation. The clock was ticking, and every decision mattered. Controllers scrambled to reroute planes, alert pilots, and mobilize ground crews. Every second counted as they worked to avert catastrophe. Meanwhile, the moose, blissfully unaware of the chaos it had caused, continued to wander across the snowy runway, pausing occasionally to sniff the cold air. Tension mounted in the control tower. Every second counted as the airport faced an unprecedented threat, one that no amount of training could have fully prepared them for. The day Anchorage Airport would never forget had begun, and the story was only just unfolding. Safety was now the only priority. Every member of the airport team sprang into action, determined to protect lives both in the air and on the ground. The world's eyes were about to turn to Alaska, as news of the unlikely intruder spread far beyond the snowy runways of Anchorage. In a matter of moments, airport operations made a swift and unprecedented decision: shut everything down immediately. The sense of urgency was palpable, and the entire airport braced for impact. The order echoed through the control tower. Every movement, every takeoff, every landing, all stopped at once. The usually calm voices in the tower now carried a tone of alarm. Safety protocols kicked in instantly, with teams springing into action. Security and staff moved with practiced precision, ensuring every step was followed to the letter. Pilots approaching Anchorage were told in no uncertain terms: airport closed, expect holding or diversion. The news rippled through the skies, forcing pilots to circle or seek alternate airports. Inside terminals, confusion spread rapidly as announcements hinted at a serious, unfolding situation. Passengers sensed a major disruption, their travel plans suddenly uncertain. Planes on the ground were held at gates. Others, caught mid-taxi, shut down their engines right where they were. The entire airfield became a parking lot. Lines at ticket counters grew longer by the minute, frustration mounting as travelers sought answers and alternatives. The airport, usually bustling with energy and movement, fell eerily silent. The sudden stillness was unsettling. Only the sound of wind and distant emergency sirens broke the quiet, echoing across the empty runways. Ted Stevens Anchorage International, a vital gateway to Alaska and the world, was transformed from a hub of activity to a holding pen for stranded travelers and grounded planes. Security patrolled the perimeter, eyes sharp for any sign of trouble, while staff did their best to manage anxious, worried passengers inside. But all focus, all attention, was on the tarmac, where the crisis was unfolding in real time. A wild moose out of place and out of time had brought a major U.S. airport to a complete standstill. The challenge was clear: resolve the situation safely and do it fast before things escalated further. Every minute of closure cost money, patience, and reputation. News crews gathered, and the world was watching closely. The airport's reputation, and, more importantly, the safety of everyone involved, were on the line. No one knew how long the standoff would last. Time seemed to slow as the crisis dragged on. The Moose, oblivious to the chaos it caused, was now the most important passenger in Anchorage. The pressure to act was immense, with every second increasing the stakes for everyone involved. The airport's fate, and the day's schedule, hung in the balance as everyone waited for a resolution. All eyes remained fixed on the runway, waiting for the moment when normalcy could finally return. Inside the terminal, passengers reacted in a variety of ways. Some pressed their faces to the glass, peering out the windows in hopes of catching a glimpse of the commotion on the runway. Others scrolled anxiously through their phones, searching for updates or texting loved ones about the unexpected delay. Children, sensing the tension, grew increasingly restless, their parents struggling to keep them entertained. Business travelers checked their watches repeatedly, worried about missed meetings and important connections, their stress mounting with every passing minute. Families fretted over ruined vacation plans, comforting upset children and trying to make sense of the situation. The initial confusion soon turned to resignation. After all, this was Alaska, where wildlife encounters were not unheard of, even in the most unexpected places. Airport staff had no time to wait, moving briskly through the terminal as they coordinated their response. Wildlife control teams were dispatched immediately, grabbing their gear and heading out to the tarmac. These professionals understood the risks of approaching a stressed moose. One wrong move could escalate the danger for everyone involved. Ground crews quickly established a wide perimeter, using cones and fencing to keep both the animal and themselves safe from harm. Officials convened an emergency meeting. Airport management, FAA representatives, state troopers and biologists all gathered to coordinate a safe response. The goal was clear: remove the moose safely, ensuring the well-being of both the animal and the airport's operations. Options ranged from gentle herding using tools and vehicles to guide the moose away from danger, to tranquilization as a last resort if the animal refused to cooperate or became aggressive. The pressure to reopen the airport was intense, with every minute of closure costing money and fraying nerves. Meanwhile, the moose wandered the snowy grass near the runway, nibbling at frozen tufts but growing increasingly wary of the vehicles and people nearby. Its ears swiveled, eyes wide and alert. A stressed moose is unpredictable and potentially dangerous. The response team advanced with extreme caution, moving slowly to avoid startling the animal. Each failed attempt to corral the moose only increased the tension and frustration among staff and responders. Overhead, planes circled in holding patterns, burning precious fuel as they waited for clearance to land. Some flights began diverting to other cities, leaving passengers stranded and schedules in disarray. News crews arrived, broadcasting live updates as the world watched this unusual standoff unfold in real time. The airport's reputation was at stake, with travelers and airlines alike demanding answers and solutions. Yet the moose remained unfazed, standing its ground and effectively holding the airport hostage. Every decision carried risk, and the clock kept ticking as everyone waited for a resolution. Wildlife Control tried to gently guide the moose toward a safe exit. Vehicles acted as mobile barriers, moving slowly and predictably. The moose, however, was uncooperative, curious, not frightened. The vastness of the runway made containment difficult. If startled, the moose could bolt toward active areas. Jet engine noise threatened to spook it further. Tranquilizing was risky. A darted moose might run before succumbing. Relocating a 500-pound animal is no small feat. Minutes stretched into an hour, then longer. Planes circled, some diverted to Fairbanks or Seattle. Each failed attempt increased pressure on the team. The world was watching this high-stakes dance. The airport needed to reopen, but safety was everything. The moose remained the unlikely obstacle. The standoff continued. As removal efforts continued, questions mounted. How did a bull moose breach airport security? Investigators checked the perimeter fence for damage or gaps. CCTV footage was reviewed for clues. Theories ranged from weather-damaged fencing to human error. This incident exposed a serious vulnerability. A thorough review of wildlife protocols and barriers was underway. The shutdown's impact was immediate and widespread. Thousands of passengers were stranded, some on planes, others in crowded terminals. Missed connections and disrupted plans caused frustration. Airlines faced mounting costs from diversions and rebookings. Anchorage's role as a cargo hub meant supply chains were disrupted. perishable goods were at risk, and tourism took a hit. The moose caused economic ripples far beyond the airport. News spread quickly. Local, national, and international media covered the story. Moose shuts down major U.S. airport became a headline. Some found humor, others saw serious safety concerns. The world watched, captivated by this uniquely Alaskan problem. For those affected, it was no laughing matter. The incident became a local legend. The airport's vulnerability was now global news. Everyone waited to see how it would end. After nearly 3 tense hours, officials finally succeeded. Using coordinated vehicles, they gently herded the moose toward an emergency access gate. Once clear, the moose was guided into a livestock trailer for relocation. The investigation found a damaged fence section caused by heavy snow and a fallen tree. This created the opening the moose used. The airport responded by increasing fence inspections and installing thermal cameras. Staff received enhanced wildlife deterrence training. The goal: prevent a repeat incident. The Great Moose Standoff ended safely. No injuries, no harm. Operations resumed, but the lesson was clear. In Alaska, wilderness is always close, even at a major airport. The incident highlighted the need for constant vigilance. Coexistence with nature remains an ongoing challenge.